There is an insurance option out there that almost nobody knows about. Your job certainly doesn't know about it, much less being able to offer it to you. Your boss doesn't know about it, much less being able to offer it to you. This insurance option covers health insurance, dental, vision, disability, long-term, short-term, workman's comp, the whole thing. And it's 100% coverage. There's no premiums, there's no deductibles, none of that stuff. You're covered 100%, and it's never talked about at your job because they don't know about it, much less being able to offer it. By the way, we're catching the sunrise right now, so enjoy the sound of the water and the colors by the sunrise as I talk about this. One of my favorite places to be. It's so soothing here. But this ultimate 100% coverage, every kind of insurance that I'm talking about that covers you, you're going to want to Google and YouTube this, write it down, get something to write with and jot it down. It's called passive and residual income. It covers you completely. For example, I'm living it, so I'll give you my credibility here. I'm living it. I went away for a month. I didn't do a damn thing work-wise, and it wasn't paid vacation leave or any of that stuff that a job offers. It was better than that. It wasn't sick leave. It wasn't nothing. It was 100% coverage and something much better than you'll never get offered this at a job. But because I did the work to build residual and passive income, I was covered. I came back to a paycheck that didn't just keep up with like the prior month when I was working, but it was actually a bigger paycheck, and I wasn't doing anything at all. So I could have been out sick, I could have been mangled in a terrible car wreck or something, working on my recovery. It didn't matter. None of that mattered. The point is whatever I was doing, I was covered 100%, actually more than 100%, because my income was actually greater that month that I was on vacation versus months prior. How does that work? It's all part of residual passive income. So one of the worst places a human being could be in the course of their life for people that have a job is if something horrible happens. You're in a wreck and you need weeks, maybe months, maybe you need a year to recover from something horrible. And all that time, you're only getting under insurance plans and workman comps and things like that that's provided by your job, you're only going to get about a percentage of some kind, maybe 80%, 60%, whatever, of what you were making when you were working. And for a lot of you, at 100%, you're living paycheck to paycheck. So for almost every one of you out there, getting into a wreck of some kind, you're just one accident, one devastation away from being completely financially devastated and possibly risk losing your home and everything and ending up on the streets. For a lot of you, it's just one disaster away from being homeless because you're paycheck to paycheck right now, and the insurance options and things like that provided by your job does not cover 100%. They just don't. You'll be covered, a great one would be 80%. And if you're paycheck to paycheck, 80% means, well, you can't live anymore. So a lot of people are thrown into this situation where they can't even put their energy and their focus and their heart where it needs to be when you're at your most vulnerable, your sickest, your weakest, your most vulnerable. It should be on getting better. But when you're at your worst, oh my God, how are things going to be paid for? How am I going to be covered? Am I going to get to keep my house? Am I going to lose everything? And families go through this stuff all the time. This isn't some bizarre set of circumstances. This is common life, and it happens to almost everybody at least once or twice, where something happens, something unforeseen, you're in a wreck, and you can't afford to get by anymore at the time when you're at your weakest and your most vulnerable. That's what it's like if you depend on a job and all the insurance options that jobs provide and this and that. It's the worst insurance. It is awful. But imagine being able to get away from that garbage and getting something that has you 100% covered, and it doesn't matter what you're doing with your time. It could be a vacation, or it could be getting better from being in a horrible wreck, or you can't, whatever the case is, it doesn't even matter. It's all about building residual and passive income. Not only is that your freedom, but it's your ultimate insurance policy, every kind of insurance. And by the way, speaking of life insurance, imagine this. You want to leave something behind for your kids, your family, when you pass on, whether it's an untimely death or a timely death. You just want to make sure, because tomorrow is promised to nobody. You never know. You want to make sure your family is going to be taken care of. Well, every life insurance policy works like this. Something happens, you pass on, your family cashes in on the life insurance policy, they use it to pay for your final expenses or whatever. Maybe you had a little left over, a savings account, so that it helps them out beyond the final expenses. That's all fine and dandy, but once that's cashed in, it's over. There's nothing else coming in. That's it. So that's extremely limiting. With the passive and residual income, that's something that's going to keep going. I'll draw back on my example so that I can have credibility with you that I know what I'm talking about. I have at least 2 residual and passive income streams. One of them pays me weekly. The other one pays me every month. So every week and every month, I've got all this money pouring into me, regardless of what I'm doing. If I'm working, or if I'm on vacation, or if I'm focused on getting better because I was in Iraq. Doesn't matter. It comes in anyway, every month and every week. If I die, those keep coming in. Right now I have it set to go to my parents if something happens to me. It's all willed to my parents. But after my parents pass on, I don't really know where it's going to go because I don't really have, I guess my brother, but it's going to go somewhere. And whoever I decide to will it to after my parents pass on, they're going to get this money that keeps coming in every week, every month, years and years and years after my death. It doesn't stop. You don't just cash in on it and that's it. Like with your life insurance policy, somebody cashes in on it, it's done, over and out. With mine, it's generational because it's passive and residual. So you could do passive and residual income. Set that up, build that up, get that going. And then when you pass on, it keeps going for generations. It is generational wealth that you set up for your family. That passive money that you set up, monthly, weekly, money coming in, maybe tons of it, depending on how high you build it. But that's going to take care of your kids, your grandkids, your great-grandkids, maybe even your great-great-grandkids. That's how powerful that is with passive and residual income. There's no life insurance policy that's going to remotely come close to that. You cash in on it, it's done. The residual and passive money, it's generational wealth that you set up. I hope that starts to make sense to you, because it's a pretty cool deal that you will never find at any job. Every job, as far as every bit of how you get paid, every bit of how you're insured and covered, and your security and stability, all of that is a big nonsensical ripoff at your job. It will never come close to offering you what passive and residual income can offer you. So research that. Google, YouTube, and I've also got my website. I've done well over 2,000 videos and hundreds of blog posts, a lot of them about residual and passive income. So feel free, tomberkenmeyer.com. And just like it's spelled on my social media, take out the space. And I've also got fireyyourboss.xyz. So tomberkenmeyer.com, and then fireyyourboss.xyz, which is not a .com, that's a .xyz, remember that. And you can use the search engines there on my website to research residual and passive income, and also do it outside of my website as well. So you got different perspectives on it and different resources you can draw upon to learn about it, because it's worthwhile learning and it's worthwhile doing. 100% coverage in every area of your life, every insurance possible. Life insurance, I just went over that. And yeah, it's the ultimate freedom. And when you can focus on you instead of money, that's peace. If you have to focus on money instead of you because you don't have enough of it to pay your bills, that's stress. And that's nonsense. That's having a job. So passive and residual money. Feel free to share this. This is actually a really important, life-changing, life-saving thing that people need to know about, because there is no education about this whatsoever at your job or at school. They don't teach it in school either. So this is an outside of the box thing that does exist and is available to everybody in the United States and a lot of other countries, but it is not taught in school or at the workplace. Okay? So please pass this video on and take care.